Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormie Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of February 10th. Now, this week, you guys, this is a busy week, and it starts off right at the beginning of the week with Mercury coming into a square with Uranus, and this is an important aspect for us to be paying attention to. We're also going to see this aspect again happening in September, so some of the shifts and the changes and the surprises or the unexpected information that is revealed to us here will have a shift or a new view to it as we get towards the fall time. So I want you to kind of keep this in mind and making sure that as you are tracking, whether it be with the digital transit calendar that you can get in the description box down below from our friends at Wise Skies Collective, or you are keeping an astrology journal so that you can track what's happening in your life, because the best astrology is your astrology. No astrologer on YouTube, at a talk, at a presentation can give you really specific astrology in a general space like this. So I want you to be empowered to find out where this is happening in your chart, because we will see that whatever gets presented is going to have its resolution or its pivot, its change of direction in the second half of the year. Now, we're also going to have a full moon happening this week, and this particular full moon is in a hard aspect that we call a square to Uranus and Taurus. So this is a story of unexpected shifts in securities, relationships, the things that we value. So things are definitely taking a new direction, and it is coming in a very Uranian way this week. But the way that Uranus works is you don't always see Uranus coming, but what we always want to keep in mind is that Uranus's evolutionary energy is about getting something unstuck. It says this energy doesn't belong here anymore. We need to shift the direction of it. So it gets it unstuck and shifted and moving and taking a direction, because ultimately what Uranus wants is freedom. So we have a busy week this week in terms of the energies, but we also have a week where, you guys know I don't sensationalize. It is a week I think you have to pay attention to what's going on and just expect the unexpected. And expecting the unexpected does not mean that it's bad, and it does not mean buckle up for fear this week. Those things are not synonymous. So first things first, please make sure that you go to the description box down below where you can get signed up for the 5-day YouTube challenge that is coming in March, talking about these changes to our security, how you make your money, who's in charge of your finances, your skills, your talents. They have a place and they are valuable while you're also making an impact. And if you are a business that is not using YouTube, this is free marketing. This is free marketing that you are leaving on the table to help you, to help your business, help your family. So I want to show you how to not only create content, but how to monetize that, even if you are a tiny channel. If you are ready to learn the transits and really be your own astrologer, see how these things are playing out in your chart, those 5-week classes are going to start in April, and they are $67 while the classes are being built. So if this is you and you're ready to learn in that way, go ahead, jump in the description box down below. Please get signed up. There's limited spaces in both of the classes, but I would love to have you. There are also the timestamps for every single day in the description box down below. So if you know you have a big meeting on Wednesday and you want to see what the vibe is, you can click right down there and check it out, okay? All right, let's go into the week and see what's going. Now, as we're coming into the week, we're coming off of a pretty busy and revealing day just on Sunday in general. We had the sun come into Cazimi with Mercury that's there in Aquarius. So there was a lot of information that was presented, or good news, or like a bright idea, right? There's kind of a pivot. And one of the things that I want to also have us keep in mind is that still at this point, in the month, Mars, our action planet, assertion, what we're actually doing, the strategy is still retrograde and still out of bounds. So much of what's happening in your life, so much of what we're watching play out on the global stage is not what it's going to be when Mars not only comes direct, but comes out of that retrograde as we welcome that Venus out of the retrograde. I don't think globally we're going to really know where we are. I don't think personally in your life you're going to feel like super solid on where everything's at until we get to about June, July timeframe, because we need these energies to move forward. Not only that, we've got Neptune at these final degrees of Pisces. And when a planet gets to its final degrees, it's really potent, but it says that nothing's really changing just yet. And with Neptune being in Pisces, what you're seeing may not be actually what it is. So I offer that to you astrologically, not only to have a little bit of hope, but to also bring a bit more patience into what it is that you're growing, you're changing, you're building, and the good news or the information or the shifts of information that are coming your direction. Take it easy, roll with it, let it flow. And remember, if you're heading into a space where frustration or fear really have your captive attention, or you're just feeling like stuck in some way, that North Node is also in Pisces. There's a really big, nice Pisces conglomerate going on. So creativity, play, passion, inspiration, these are going to be your tickets to sanity and to having some kind of outlet, because what we're looking at right now might not be what it's going to be when we get to the second half of the year. All right, so as we are coming into this week on Monday, we're coming in with the moon in the vibration of Cancer. So we're coming in with the moon in a very comfortable position, okay? But it is coming in Cancer. So we may be coming in, especially early in the day, a bit more emotional, a bit more grounded into our intuition. The emotional intelligence is high, but you can also be coming in emotionally feeling like a cardinal energy, like a Cancer. I'm ready to do something, but the energy of what to do might not be directly clear, or you feel like I move in a direction and then I kind of hit a stopping block. So it might not be there just yet. What I can suggest here under this energy is, first of all, have your creature comforts. Make sure that your home, your space, your emotional life, you feel solid and secure in how you are moving. Remember, root to rise. What do you need to be rooted in order to be secure and stable to rise? So lots of questions about, are you feeling secure in your home being your body, your being, maybe even in your external home, and what's going on? You may be feeling a little bit more private, where you're like, I really don't want to go out in the world today. I just want to stay at home and have a nice cup of chamomile tea and work from the couch, so that energy can definitely be on your table. Now, just behind that, we are going to see that the moon is going to get ready to go into a void of course position. But before it hits void of course, where the energy is going to soften and be about finishing things, the moon's going to hit a trine with Neptune over in Pisces. So this is a water trine. Okay, so being in a water trine, first of all, the trine presents the aspect of ease. It says, okay, you have a natural access of ease to these energies. So what you have the most easily accessible and identifiable access to is your intuition. What is your intuition telling you about what is happening in front of you, what you want to be happening, right? And this is the place where, again, I say, I really want us to keep in mind that so much of what we are seeing with the human eye is not exactly what is really going on, but it really can sensitize the emotions when we're dealing with this trine. So in its positive aspect, in this last aspect it's making, your creativity, your imagination, this place to play where you can dip in between the worlds, this is really, really great. But it can also be a place where that creative, magic, magnifying mind is actually making you a little bit more afraid, a little bit more sensitized. And instead, I would say, if you can, go to ways to be of service. How can you be of service to yourselves? How can you grant forgiveness and compassion? Which I think is a great thing to be thinking about, as the moon is going to go void of course here at 6:49 a.m. until 10 a.m. and that is Colorado time. So make sure you calculate that in your own time zone. And I say that because when we're talking about being of service, it's not always being, I think, the person who is out doing humanitarian aid care, but literally, the moon was just in Cancer. We're finishing up in this void of course time, where it's just time to not start anything new, just finish the things that are, or to rest. Where can you be of service in your own home? Where can you do the dishes? You can do the laundry. You can check in on the people that are in and around you and see how they're doing. The world is changing massively. You know, how are the people around you doing, where you can create a little bit of a bond or a little bit of a connection? Maybe it's a time for a little bit. You got to just sit down with the cat and snuggle up the cat. Where is the time to journal, right? These places of being of service, I think remembering that they can be the tiny things that we do in our lives, the most mundane things that we do in our lives as acts of beautiful service. They can make us feel connected to our being, you know, because there's nothing, I think there's nothing as uncomfortable as spiritual unrest or feeling like there's like an anxious apartness. So what can we do to be of service and to nurture into our spaces? Now, as the moon is void, of course, until 10 o'clock, again, the moon here is very nebulous. It's like nothing is solid. You start something now, like you go on to start something new, and then as soon as the moon comes out of void, of course, time you go to grab it, and it's like it dissolves like ether. So again, it's more about the rest, finish what's already happening, realize that if you're being or your focus gets a little bit foggy at this time, it's just the universe reminding us that it's kind and it allows times for rest, more rest than we usually give ourselves credit to take. Just behind that, the moon will shift into fiery Aries. Okay, so now we're coming back online. We're like, okay, woof. Woof. So as the moon comes into the position of Aries, or Leo, first of all, for some of you, this will be a lunar return. So if you haven't checked out your lunar return chart or you haven't watched the lunar return video to see how this can help you navigate, I'll make sure it's at the end of this video. But with the moon in Leo, one of the big questions I think about is, what do you need to say? What do you need to express? You need to say it with your chest out. Emotionally, is there a piece of conversation that needs to be happening? Is there a piece of art? You need to create something. You need to take a risk emotionally to share something about yourself, right? And I also think, because I am like, my daughter is a Leo, my best friends are Leos, and they are some of the most big-hearted, grateful energies. Right? They really just, I feel like there's a sense of gratitude that pours off of Leo energy that even I have previously really missed or like dismissed, you know? And so this is again an opportunity here with this shifting energy, just being alive, being awake. Where can you go to a position for the next couple days of gratitude, but also enjoy that Leo is a fixed fire sign. So where you are standing, you can kind of plant your post and burn big and burn bright with this energy. Now, of course, it's a fire energy, so it's always a good time for fire foods. Where do you have cinnamon? Where do you have chili? Where do you have clove? I think that saffron is more of a Sagittarius spice, but I mean, I could get down with it. It's got a nice red to it. So where can you bring some of these into your world? Okay, now we get to 12:27, so about 12:30 p.m. again, Colorado time, and this is a big energy. Mercury is going to come into a square with Uranus. So first of all, Mercury being our communication planet, what is being communicated, how it's being communicated, you know, most particularly the details of what is being communicated. Right now, being in a square to Uranus is like, this is where you could get really surprising information, or something comes at you like a complete curveball. You did not see it coming. You did not see it coming, right? Or you didn't see it coming right now. Whatever it is, there is this unexpected information, unexpected energy, unexpected interactions that present itself that change the course of the routine. It changes the course of the routine. It changes the course of the day, right? Whatever that is. Now, to the side where, you know, there's going to be a lot of fear mongering, you're going to hear it even in the astro community. You're going to hear it, and they're going to be like, and they're going to do all of these really scary things, right? That is true. That is true, because misinformation, misleading information, people being more offended than normal, all of this is absolutely possible at this time. But as equally possible, depending on where this is happening in your chart, is you could be having breakthrough information. You're having a genius idea of how to solve something that has been really tricky for a long time. You know, you've been having Maybe you've been feeling stuck or unsettled in some way, and this energy kind of pops you out of that and shows you a different way to proceed forward. But the thing I want you to just be mindful of, no matter what, is to stay flexible. When Uranus gets involved, we have to be flexible, because what's coming around that corner, you may be rooted and prepared for, but you may not be as prepared for exactly what it is or how it's going to come at you. And again, I do think it's a space where the information is not completely clear. And this is going to be about things about your resources, your relationships, your security, your finances. All of these things really come up under this particular tension. Now, again, like I shared, that we will see this again when we get to September of 2025. Okay, so just in the fall. So what comes up now, what comes up will come down. Okay, what comes up will come down. So when we get here to the 11th, now we have got another square to Uranus. So I'm telling you, the flexibility, do your stretches. Okay, do your stretches this week. Stay massively flexible, because we're going to see the sun come into a square with Uranus. We just saw the sun and Mercury come cazimi with each other. So of course, back to back, they're going to be hitting up these planets just behind them. Now, as the sun squares this Uranian energy here, first of all, I like the positive side of it. If again, it is this idea of flexibility, or this like breakdown to breakthrough, because the sun is motivated. Okay, the sun is motivated to have a new solution, to say, yeah, maybe this is outside of my comfort zone. Maybe this is outside of my box. Maybe this situation is a little bit unpredictable, but I'm ready to be flexible on my toes and move and create different solutions. So I like it. There's a real open-mindedness around all of the uncertainty that maybe is swirling, that you can be really, it can be useful here. But in tandem with what was happening with that Mercury on Monday, Sun today, and then the Moon going to be happening just a day later, I think we need to be prepared for how abrupt and rapid a change of direction or a change of circumstance presents itself. Because again, the sun squaring against Uranus is motivated. So it is motivated to change the course, change the direction of something in order to make it free. And it can feel really radical. That's the thing, is that feelings get involved here. This feels scary. This feels like it's not right. This goes against my comfort zone. But we don't, again, know the full outcome of what it is. In a global perspective and in a community perspective, I want you to consider this as well. All of this bumping against Uranian energy this week can create a lot of anger, because people are afraid, right? We're getting unexpected information, unexpected shifts of dynamics. And so people will tense and get into a space of fear. So I want you to know that the time for the ego conflict is not now. This is not now. That's not going to be incredibly useful. So how do we avoid such complications? Stay flexible. Stay flexible. Work from the place of the new identity that you've been brewing up for the last year and a half. Be true and authentic to what you think, what you believe. And again, because Mars is retrograde, I ask you to consider the two questions I keep throwing at you. One, what can I do? What can I actually do? What can I put my hands on, make a positive difference with? What can I do? And two, what do I actually factually know to be basing information on, especially when I'm doing what I'm doing, okay? So lots of uncertain energy, lots of rapid changes of direction. The things that don't meet the vibration are definitely going to get knocked around under this energy, okay? But we're not running around afraid and living under rocks. Now, when we get to Wednesday, we come into the position of the full moon. This full moon is happening at 24 degrees of Leo, so you definitely want to identify that in your chart. And we're going to see that this moon is sitting in this square to Uranus in Taurus. So first of all, the full moon is our opportunity where we're going to be asked to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. We need to celebrate what we've built here, first of all. And then we need to see if it's still valuable or where we need to pivot and recommit to the next direction. Now, if you haven't checked out your full moon in Leo video, make sure you check it out because I give you the full dates of where this lunation pattern has been happening so that you can follow it in your own life and say, yes, back at this date, this is what was happening for me. So make sure you check out that video. I'll put it at the end. But here, we're still being asked to end, acknowledge, or adjust, but we're being asked to adjust these Leo things. What I'm expressing, my creativity, how confidently I'm going about something, lots of personal revelation, right? I need to say it with my chest out. Here's what I actually believe. Here's the business I'm willing to stand out. I need to step into the spotlight, right? There can be that suddenness of I need to step into the spotlight, but ultimately our Leo energy is going to ask us to take a risk. And the risk might not be hot and heavy, like, oh, I'm going out, I'm going to war, I'm going to create, it doesn't have to be for the fight. What can as equally be happening here is that Leo also represents the child, right? Childlike faith, play, joy, pleasure, play. What is your chance? Where are you giving yourself an opportunity to be recognized for your talents, to make that really bold career move, relationship move, decision move that is really, it was maybe in alignment with an old version of yourself. And today you're like, that doesn't work for me. I don't want that for myself anymore. I would like something else, right? Now, the square to Uranus here for me really is a suggestion. This is a fixed square. So something has been in place for quite some time and you've had maybe a hard time digging it out, getting around it, or adjusting. Fixed energy doesn't like to be bonked against. So this square to Uranus in Taurus, first of all, tells me that, again, some unexpected shift in your resources, some unexpected shift in your security, in your finances, in your relationship, and things having to do with food. The energy is unpredictable. So we have to be prepared for the surprises, the breakthroughs, the sudden decisions that need to be made. But we also do not run and hide. You could be in a massive demonstration of new brilliance that has come to you. So I think if you can, to the best of your ability, avoid impulsive decision making, right, then you're going to be in good space, because there is this place where Leo wants to be recognized and Taurus just wants to be stable, and that can be a bit emotionally volatile, especially at a full moon energy where our emotions are so heightened. But instead, stay flexible, and this helps to navigate the changes that are presenting, okay? So just behind that, on the same day, we'll see that the moon gets into this position of void, of course, but the moon will oppose Mercury, who just got all banged up, banging against Uranus just earlier in the week. So the moon now, after having this full moon energy, is going to oppose Mercury. So again, it is a signature to me that some piece of information that you have is not entirely clear. It's not like you don't have all the facts just yet. Or it can make it so that feelings or information have been presented. I want to say feelings because this is a lunation, is presented to you and you don't exactly know what to do with them yet. Let the feelings settle. If imminent danger is not presented, let the feelings settle so that you're making an argument from a clear place, right? And then the moon will be void of course, and we're going to take a good void of course time here. We're going to go from 12:11 p.m. until 6:06 p.m. So you get several hours to let that energy settle, let that confusion, that misunderstanding. A little pause goes a long way, right? A little pause goes a long way, and then rest to the best of your ability. And remember, if this is like the middle of the day, you're like, Stormie, I can't be dipping out of work to take a nap. I understand 1,000%. But where can you let yourself rest? Where can you say, okay, universe, you take it? Because listen, we have all of this energy in Pisces, whatever you call a higher power, whatever you let do the heavy lifting of the burdens in your life is something we're all being challenged to be in contact with. So where can you have a different relationship with rest by being like, okay, universe, you take it right now. I need to breathe and I need to come back to ground, but I can't be sitting and worry. I can't solve this, work on it, put any footwork in it right now. rest, right? After that, we will see the moon shift into the vibration of Virgo, a lot more grounded. Now, while the moon gets into an earth sign, we get that gushy, delicious groundedness. Virgo wants to get us inwardly organized so that externally we're not involved in a vibration of chaos, right? So that is great, but Virgo is a mutable earth energy. So there can still be this sense or this awareness of a little bit of anxiety. And I think we have to be mindful of that. And the way to do that is, first of all, to address if something is giving you that anxious bubble or a feeling is coming up. What is it? Name it, see it, write it out. This is Virgo energy. Use that word magic of Mercury, right? Are you stressed out in your space at home because it just needs some organization at this point, and you can take it and create a more organized or more cleanly space? Do you need to actually go outside and put your feet in the dirt, be in the air, get some nature on your skin? What is it that we can do with an earth moon to bring health and grounding back, so again, that you can root to rise instead of just stressing your nervous system? One of the things, I just want to share this with you, personal experience, is my youngest daughter has Tourette's, and one of the things we can do for her that we have is she has a weighted blanket. So when she's really particularly ticky and things are going, and her nervous system has just had like enough, we use the weighted blanket, and she'll just watch like a little something that she likes or that she enjoys, but she just sits under the weighted blanket and lets the nervous system just have that pressure and be relaxed. So if that's something that you can do, something that my husband and I do is we do human blanket. It's not his favorite. It's my favorite. So, and I learned it in college. You just lay on top of another human being, right? Back to front, and let each other compress and share the energy. So if this is something you're looking to bring up a bit more intimacy in your life, or let your kids lay on your back, right? Like, if your kids are like 45, maybe that's not going to be comfortable. But, there are ways that we can look at how can we work with the astrology that is available to us. In the kitchen, where can you add little things in Virgo? Make your plate a little bit more organized, make it beautiful. Try a recipe with a food that you've never tried before. Have you ever had lavender tea? Have you cooked with lavender? Have you cooked with dill? Have you cooked with caraway, right? Like, have you done these things that we can use the transit that we're in to its greatest, most full good as well? And sometimes that's all we need to have an experience that is a different experience with even our emotional beings. So I offer that to you as we continue to travel this week, because there's a lot of flexibility needed. Now, this energy is going to carry us through Thursday and coming into Valentine's Day, which is my favorite holiday of the year. Don't care if it's commercialized. I love you guys. Thank you for being with me. Can't wait to send you a Valentine little post. We're going to see that Mercury enters into the vibration of Pisces. And who doesn't love that for Valentine's Day? Who does not love that for a little bit of Valentine's Day? Stormie Grace does, and I hope that you can share in that as well. Okay. So as we see Mercury come here into Pisces, first of all, Mercury is considered to be in fall in the energy of Pisces. It's not strong. It is in its weakest position, right? Because Mercury wants the facts. Mercury wants the facts and the details. Give it to me now. Let's be crisp. Let's be clear. Let's be about it. And in Pisces, it doesn't work like that. The facts do not come in terms of the intellect. It comes in emotional intelligence. It comes in imagination. It comes in intuition. It comes in nonlinear thinking. You're essentially trying to think and make really impactful decisions in water. So you can't do that just from the intellectual space, right? There's going to have to be a more spiritual connection, a more intuitive connection to what it is that you're saying, to information that you're breathing in. This is great. This is an absolutely great transit for storytelling, for expressing yourself more artistically, for writing in that dream journal, for writing poetry, right? We've had a lot of needing to play flexible this week. So as you've been and you've opened your body and you've opened these spaces of needing to be flexible and move around, where are you releasing old pockets of information, of emotion, some really fun and creative and exciting, and some that are just like, woof, I didn't even know that needed to come out. And where can you allow these new openings in your being to help you have more intuitive decision making as we're going to experience this transit? But again, we have to be mindful that Mercury in Pisces is just not in its strongest position. So it can be more foggy. It can be a transit over the next few weeks where you feel more forgetful about things. Or, sometimes in Pisces, we can get really unrealistic about something that we're thinking about. We're too much in the lack of truth of something. The facts are not there. Miscommunication is still something that we need to pay attention to, misunderstandings, all of these things. But I think if you're going into this Mercury Pisces transit, realizing that the time for just the solid intellect is not going to be as useful, that you have to let that information come from the head-heart connection, this can be a transit that's really, really beautiful. Now, in a very practical way, with Mercury and Pisces, where can you use Mercury, your word magic? However you're going to use your words, maybe you're signing, right? Maybe you're writing, maybe you're speaking, maybe you're using your body language. How can you use this energy to speak forgiveness into your life? Speak release, speak imagination, speak creativity, speak surrender, speak transition, speak culmination, speak everything is everything, compassion into your space. Practice that, right? Like we've got all of these transits going and it's so great to talk about it online and on YouTube, but what does your body positioning look like when you're talking to your spouse, right? Are you tense? You're holding those shoulders back so you're guarding your everything as you're having a conversation? When your boss walks into the same room with you, right? Like what is your experience? Are you able to stay intuitively open, have a boundary with your energy? These are great physical practices that we can bring into reality. Okay, that is bringing us through Valentine's Day. On Saturday morning early, we're going to see that the moon moves into a void of course position from 1:35 till 4:44 a.m. So again, you're in a space of rest, letting that energy settle. And just beyond that, we'll see that the moon shifts into the vibration of Libra. When the moon moves into an air space, we have to think about how we're feeling and then talk about how we're feeling so that we're really sure about what we're feeling. But this is the time of the month where we're also looking for balance. What do I need to do to be in balance? Are my relationships in balance? Are the things I'm in relation to in balance? This is really a very focused time where we go, okay, I need to be in an awareness of my companionships, of my collaborations, of where I am needing emotional balance, and I'm either on or I need to kind of tip those scales just a little bit. But also just flat out, relationships come into view, right? We've had Venus, the ruling planet of this lunation, move into the vibration of Aries. So they are working in opposition. Venus is like, nope, I will tell you directly what I want and call it to me. So that is how this is going to go, right? Whereas we've got the moon that is trying to feel through, what is it that I even want? Where do I even need to have this balance or this calling in of this other vibration, this other entity? So as we see some of this opposing dynamic over the next couple days, if you feel yourself being like, I want companionship, I have a greater need for companionship, but I also need to maintain and hold my own value with what I'm in companionship with, go with that energy, because it can create the tension. But in an opposition, we're looking to integrate. What are both sides? The Venus in the eye, what I need to call to me. The moon in our emotional space in the we, right? What are the differences between you and your partner, a partnership that you're in, something that you're in relationship with, where it's evident that there is a difference, but you can meet in the middle, where the difference is actually something that can be integrated and made into something good and tender, and it can bring that affection to the table. So that's going to be a really interesting energy, I think, to work with on Saturday, especially ahead of everything that we are going to see earlier in the week. Now, that energy is also going to carry us over here into Sunday as well. So as we're rounding out and we're getting into that Sunday energy, I would just be thinking about, first and foremost, what have you seen? What have you been through? What did you learn this week, especially by staying flexible, because flexibility will be on the high demand for you this week, okay? But I think that you guys have got it. The world is happening. The world is doing out there what it is doing. Let's put our fingertips let's put our head where our fingertips are and do what we can and ask the question of what can I do and what do I actually factually know that I can take action on. All right, beautiful friends, check out these videos at the end because they're going to help you along the journey and help this astrology make more sense to you. Again, please get your chart so that you can do your astrology. Your astrology is the best astrology. And if you are not prepared to do that, I want you to be able to navigate this transition successfully. So come consult me as an astrologer or consult your chosen astrologer. That's what we do all day long. So let us do the heavy lifting on that part and help walk with you. All right, friends, I love you, and I'll see you next time.